Hello, and welcome to Day by Day True Crime Stories, the podcast where we explore a different crime or justice milestone from this day in history. I'm your host, Kona Gallagher, and today is March 31st. On this day in 1995, the world was shocked when Selena Quintanilla, a talented singer who was heading toward international superstardom, was killed. At just 23 years old, Selena was taken from us far too soon. Her death rocked the music world, but her legacy has only grown stronger in the years since. Today, we're going to talk about Selena, her life, her talent, and the events that led to her tragic death. Let's get started. Selena Quintanilla Perez, known simply as Selena, was born on April 16, 1971 in Lake Jackson, Texas. The youngest of three children, she was raised by her parents, Abraham and Marcela Quintanilla, and they recognized early on that Selena had something special. With Abraham's background as a musician, he quickly became her biggest supporter. He also helped her form the family band Selena y los Dinos, with her siblings, A.B. on bass and Suzette on drums. But the early years were far from glamorous. The Quintanilla family faced tough financial times, but Selena's undeniable talent and charm quickly won over local audiences. Despite it not being her first language, Selena sang in Spanish and leaned into her Mexican-American roots. She was able to carve out a space for herself in the male-dominated Tejano music scene. And by the early 90s, she wasn't just a Tejano star, she was a sensation. Albums like Entre a mi Mundo, featuring the fan favorite Como la Flor, and Amor Prohibido, cemented her status as a crossover artist. And then came history. In 1994, Selena became the first Tejano artist to win a Grammy Award for Best Mexican-American Album. But Selena's life wasn't all about music. She was just a natural entrepreneur as well. She opened two boutiques, Selena Etc., in Corpus Christi and San Antonio. These boutiques showcased her signature style, and Selena actually designed many of her stage looks herself. Plus, at just 23 years old, she was on the verge of something even bigger. An English language crossover album that had the potential to make her a household name around the world. The album was called Dreaming of You, but sadly, she never got to see its release. At the heart of this tragedy was Yolanda Saldivar. Yolanda was a former nurse from San Antonio who first entered Selena's life as just another fan. But by 1991, after persistently reaching out to Selena's father, Abraham, she became the president of Selena's fan club. Yolanda was dedicated and hardworking, and she quickly won the family's trust. So much so that she wasn't just running the fan club, she became the manager of Selena's growing boutique business. Yolanda was at Selena's side both professionally and personally and was often described as a close friend. But by early 1995, red flags started popping up. Abraham noticed irregularities in financial records. A deeper look revealed that Yolanda had embezzled more than $30,000 from the fan club and from the boutiques. When she was confronted, Yolanda flatly denied any wrongdoing and became defensive and increasingly unstable. For Selena, it wasn't just about the money. This was someone she had trusted, someone who was part of her inner circle. The betrayal cut deep, and it was about to turn deadly. On the morning of March 31st, Selena agreed to meet Yolanda Saldivar at a Days Inn hotel in Corpus Christi. Selena had gone there with the hopes of retrieving important financial records that Yolanda had refused to hand over. The two met inside room 158, and things quickly got tense. What started as a difficult conversation escalated into a heated argument. Realizing that Yolanda wasn't going to cooperate, Selena tried to leave. But as she reached the door, Yolanda pulled out a .38 caliber revolver and fired a single shot. The bullet struck Selena in the back, severing an artery and causing catastrophic internal bleeding. Incredibly, even though Selena was mortally wounded, she managed to run 130 yards to the motel lobby, leaving a trail of blood behind her. Once she got there, she identified Yolanda as the shooter before collapsing. Paramedics arrived quickly and rushed Selena to the hospital. Doctors worked frantically, but the damage was too severe. Selena Quintanilla was pronounced dead at 1:05 p.m. The news spread fast, and with it a wave of grief unlike anything the Latino community or really the world had seen before. Police arrived to the Days Inn quickly and secured the scene. Motel employees and guests were able to confirm what Selena had already told them, that Yolanda Saldivar was the shooter. But by then, Yolanda had locked herself inside of her pickup truck in the motel's parking lot. What followed was a tense 9-hour standoff. Yolanda pointed the gun at herself repeatedly, threatening suicide while police tried to talk her down. Throughout those hours, Yolanda claimed that the shooting was an accident. She insisted that she had brought the gun with the intent of harming herself, not Selena. But no one was buying it. Finally, after hours of negotiations, she surrendered and was taken into custody. Yolanda's trial began in October 1995. The court moved proceedings from Corpus Christi to Houston to ensure a fair trial, but that didn't stop the courtroom from being packed every single day. The prosecution argued that this was no accident. Yolanda's actions were deliberate and motivated by rage, fear, and desperation after being exposed for embezzling money. The evidence was overwhelming. There were Selena's own dying words, forensic analysis linking the bullet to Yolanda's revolver, and the eyewitness accounts. Yolanda's defense, on the other hand, painted the shooting as an accident and, again, that her only plan was to harm herself. But the jury still wasn't buying it. After just 2 hours of deliberation, Yolanda was found guilty of first-degree murder and sentenced to life in prison with the possibility of parole after 30 years. And today is the 30-year anniversary of Selena's death, and Yolanda did meet with the parole board earlier this month. But on March 27th, just a few days ago, the Texas parole board denied parole to Yolanda Saldivar. In a statement on social media, Selena's family and her widower, Chris Perez, said, quote, "While nothing can bring Selena back, this decision reaffirms that justice continues to stand for the beautiful life that was taken from us and from millions of fans around the world far too soon." End quote. Selena's death was more than a tragedy. It was the loss of a cultural icon. In the days following her passing, fans gathered in vigils, filling the streets with candles, flowers, and tears. Radio stations played her music nonstop. For many people, it felt like losing a family member. But Selena's story didn't end there. Her posthumous crossover album, Dreaming of You, debuted at #1 on the Billboard 200, and she became the first Latin artist to achieve that milestone. It sold millions of copies and reached fans who had never heard her music before. In 1997, the film Selena, starring Jennifer Lopez, introduced Selena's life to even more people and made Jennifer Lopez a superstar. More recently, Netflix released Selena the series, which reintroduced her story to a new generation. Selena's influence can still be seen today, not just in music, but in fashion, pop culture, and Latin representation across industries. Her boutiques, her style, her generosity, and her powerful presence left a mark that time cannot erase. In Texas, April 16th is officially recognized as Selena Day, and each year fans gather at her memorial in Corpus Christi to celebrate her life and her legacy. Selena wasn't just a star. She was and still is a symbol of creativity and cultural pride. Thank you so much for joining me on today's episode of Day by Day True Crime Stories. If you found Selena's story as impactful as I did, please subscribe, rate, and review the podcast. And be sure to join me again tomorrow as we explore another significant event in true crime history. Until then, stay safe and remember that behind every headline is a life worth remembering. Day by Day, True Crime Stories is a Little Monster production.
Hey, you can do it!